Hi, it's Joy and thank you for watching Arcane, Season 1, Episode 3, The Base Violence Necessary for Change, which is a very ominous title. I am loving this show so far. I absolutely love the characters, the world, and I cannot wait to learn more. A reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon, 2 weeks in advance, the edited version 1 week in advance, and let's go.
Ever wonder what it's like to drown?
Not really, I'd rather never know, thanks.
But it changes you forever.
Ooh, someone held him under the water.
For that, friend.
That looks like a muscly guy, like Vander, but there's no way to know that that was Vander. He got her first. Oh my god. Oh, thank Lord. Thank the Lord.
I'm proud of you. You've got a good heart. Don't ever lose it. No matter how the world tries to break you.
Oh.
Protect the family.
What are you? No.
Oh, I really thought she was being arrested. Is he gonna take the blame instead to protect her? Did she just say like, "I'll meet you at X. I did it" or something?
For me, you won't be coming back for a long time.
I know.
Oh Lord. I mean, it's better than the children. Just their babies, his children. Oh my Lord. Holy shit. No, it's him, it's him. Was it Vander that shoved him under the water?
You never did know when to walk away.
Wait!
God, that enforcer was one of the only people we had on our side up there. Like, the people down here didn't. He didn't deserve to die.
Wasn't the deal!
Deals changed.
Oh shit. Don't reveal yourself. Oh my god. Is he dead or just unconscious? Or are they taking him? They wouldn't take him if he was dead, so we can save him. The money worth it to you? Yep. That guy looked down on all the people down here and the choices they made, and oh, why?
This hex-tech dream of yours has the potential to do that.
But it also has the potential to put you down in history as the architects of, like, the nuke. These poor kids have lost far too much.
I saw everything.
Oh.
You get people killed.
Also, it wears off.
Pride?
Does it kill you when it wears off, or you
Opportunity.
get addicted?
Everything. I trusted you. And you betrayed.
You do seem quite unstable, so I mean, maybe Vander was a different man back then, but I feel like he probably couldn't see any other way out of it.
Everything we suffered.
Oh shit.
No choice.
But now you do.
He chose a way to try to save lives.
We can. Brother.
Are they like blood brothers?
You die for the cause, but you won't fight for one.
He won't ask others to fight and die for it.
Not that man anymore.
He's seen the pain and the cost and how little it serves. That's not what he really is. That's what your concoction brings out in him. Just like that little killing machine in there was an annoying little brat who got bested, and now he's a killing machine when he takes the stuff. Yep. She's gonna get them in on it.
For your endeavor. I recognize it.
Was she here to steal it herself? Okay, you've got a lot to do. Though I don't support you in doing it.
It tore him apart.
She always acts so strong in front of them. The fact that she's just freaked out.
He's our father too.
I need you to sit this one out, Powder.
It's because she can't bear losing you, sweetheart.
I'm not afraid.
It's too dangerous.
But
She-
families stick together.
Vi is afraid for
I know what I
you.
said.
I want to help.
You're not ready.
Vi wouldn't have been at
You're all
your
I have
age.
left. Take this and run. Wherever you are, light it up, and I'll find you. I promise.
Oh my god. That really feels like they're never going to see each other again. For a while at least. Type moment. And not a fan. Like, do these two just have good intentions, but it could lead to something terrible, or not? And then Piltover blew up, and so Topside was no longer a problem. Oh, they're shining too. Oh gosh. Oh, they've lost too much. Oh gosh.
I can help them.
Oh no, 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 sweetheart. Not now they've left. You'll just, if you run in there, you'll make things worse. What is he making it do? Oh my god. Oh, you're extremely resourceful kids, but you're just kids and you don't know anything about this place. You haven't been able to scout it. Oh my gosh, there's no time for this.
We're breaking you out.
There's guards everywhere.
Oh,
We found an open window and
it's a trap.
You have to get out. Fine.
Oh god, I'm stressed. Has she trained with those before? I know she's trained fighting. Oh gosh.
You can do this.
Oh, he is a good father to these kids. It's addictive. Jesus.
Milo, hurry.
Fuck, fuck, fuck! Oh lord.
Fine.
Oh god. Do they only have one of the fist things now?
You did good.
She did. Oh, he's gonna do it, isn't he? What would that guy think of you doing this to his magic? Like, he saved you and now you're corrupting it or whatever? They did it. Yeah, she's got what she wanted from them. Oh, sweet girl. I love you. You are beyond brave. You're getting there. Oh my god. Run! Oh my god. Powder? Oh my god, how loyal are you, you lunatic? Oh my god. He was just trying to help. Holy shit. Jesus Christ, what is this gonna do? Is it surely gonna mean Topside's gonna come down? Oh god. It's so awful because they were really close to escaping, but then maybe he'd have broken through and they wouldn't have managed to escape. There really is no way of knowing what would have happened otherwise. Oh dear. Oh god. Oh. There is babies. Oh gosh. Oh god. Fucking hell. She really was just trying to help. This is why you listen when people say you're not ready, stay home. I mean, maybe they all would have died regardless. Stabbed in the back. I do want to know what their story was. Like, how did they end up here? Here as well. Oof. Is he gonna drink some before he dies? To amp up to protect the kids? Fucking hell. So you don't become mindlessly slaves to him when you take the stuff then? Oh lord. Oh. Oh, you can go after him, or you can save her. Are the other two boys? Are the boys dead?
Take care of Powder.
Oh. They've just lost so much. Oh gosh.
You did this?
No. She didn't know. She's too young to be involved in any of this.
Why did you do this?
I didn't. I only wanted to help my own.
I told you to stay away.
She's upset and hurt and
Stay
grieving.
away.
Fuck.
Why did you leave me?
Because you're a jinx. Do you hear me?
Oh.
Viola was right.
There's just too much pain here. She does like. She knows. Fucking hell. Jesus.
I need you.
They're too young, both of them. I mean, Powder tried to help. She didn't know what she was doing would cause this. And I don't think Vi trusts herself anymore around Powder, given how upset she is with it all. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Oh, see?
I'll kill you if he hears you. Come on. Let's go.
Oh my god. She did try to get to her. She was not gonna leave her. She would have come back and apologized and they would have worked things out. But Powder's always gonna think she just left. She doesn't know she stayed around the corner and
She left me.
she came back for you.
You're not my sister anymore.
This is a night of too many emotions for too many young minds that can't cope with them. Fucking hell.
It's okay.
He'll be like, I know.
We will show them all.
Oh, Powder. I have so many thoughts about this. I love the show. It's absolutely fantastic. I will start with the Jace and Victor and the sciencey plotline and then get to the stuff that I'm still processing. I can understand the drive for science, for thinking like, we need an answer to every question, and if you can get there, if you can make these discoveries, of course you should. The idea that it could do so much good. If we had this magic at our fingertips, it saved him and his mother. Why, how many other people could it save? Could it end poverty? Could it end sickness? You know, all these things you would want to do. Along with, I do think, a wee bit of wanting the glory for yourself. But there is the flip side to anything. You know, we developed nuclear power, like the concept of nuclear. We developed the concept of nuclear power, but that reactors can malfunction and murder thousands, millions of people. Or you can drop a bomb then like you've got the nuclear concept, now we have nuclear bombs. Like, you know, science is dangerous and there are certain things that shouldn't be experimented on, but then you do have the argument that I believe Jace made of, well, this science exists, someone is going to make it, so why shouldn't it be us? Why shouldn't we be able to then protect ourselves if they try and use it maliciously? And, you know, I don't have all the answers to these questions. They're quite important questions in the real world as well as in this world. And, you know, the idea of hex workings, hex magic, hex tech, that's what he said. You know, I reckon that's going to be very lucrative for him. Is her name... Oh, my brain, it's literally just gone. Moderna, like the vaccine. I feel like she may become the most powerful one in her family from this. But I do also think it's going to leave a lot of people vulnerable to the darker sides of it. And obviously I have no idea where it's going to go. Victor, I don't know what I make of him. because he seems really like a trustworthy guy. And he came to Jace and he was like, you know, we'll do this as partners and I'll help you and we'll come together. And, you know, he helped him figure out the result. Like, he gave him the breakthrough that he would never have got by himself because he needed someone that thinks differently and all of that sort of thing. But was he too ready to come to this decision? Was he too ready to be like, oh yeah, like the guy I work for, my mentor, he was like, this is way too dangerous, I'm just gonna go do it. Is that a red flag? Or is he just someone that has been an assistant for too long and wanted the glory, and maybe hearing, you know, someone talking about like, oh well, you know, I thought if we did XYZ to this then we could make magic, and then he was like, oh, that's interesting, I never thought of that before. What if we did it like this? And did it just set his scientific cogs turning and he couldn't let it go? Regardless, I am stressed that they have it. I am stressed that the I'm gonna call her Moderna, I'm very sorry if that's not her name, that she is in on it, largely because I think people that are motivated by a sense of family pride and money and like wanting to have the most power and glory scare me. And from that one scene we had where she was like, oh, I'm just not good enough, I want to be the best, and they were like, you're the richest woman in the city, and she was like, yes, but I'm the poorest in my family, and it was like, really, how much do you need? That worries me about what she might use it for, or what she might be willing to overlook certain things if it gets her what she wants. Now, if we learn more about her, maybe my fears will be completely put at ease and she will not be the person that I'm scared of with that thing, and she'll turn out to be the best ally ever. I want to like her. I don't currently dislike her. I'm just scared of what her role in all of this could lead to. And I think the guy who's lived for hundreds of years and has seen this kind of thing come around before, or at least seen magic go wrong before, might be the one I trust over people that want... But then in the real world, I'm like, oh, old people need to come move with the times sometimes. It's a mess. So then we have everything. Now, I truly thought that those were they're not called peacekeepers, are they? The guards at the door. I really thought Vi was going to be arrested, and then the fact that it was Vander and it was Benzo, and they were trying to get to her, that Vander, after everything, was willing to sacrifice himself so that to not give up the name of anybody else in the Undercity, in the lanes, B, to not give up Vi, to not risk one of his children, and the fact that, you know, he's taught her so much, that their kids are in her care, and that they look up to her, and all of that, and the fact that she was willing to step up and take the blame to protect them. I think it truly did make him proud. I think it showed him that she has listened to a lot of his lessons, that she doesn't necessarily always pick the violent option. But of course, he's never going to let his kid go down for something like this. And then them stepping outside the door and druggy, murdery blonde boy just murdering the guard woman, who was, you know, one of the people on the top side who seemed to have the most understanding for the Undercity. That she seemed to genuinely, I mean, I still think she prioritised her citizens and, you know, did think criminal scum down there, but she also knew it wasn't as simple as that, and that they did need to have a deal with Vander, that it did need to be, you know, the best course of action was to negotiate and to work things out rather than to just be like, we are best, rah. Her little deputy dude, I don't know his name. The deal he made just shows you how greed, you know, he viewed himself as so much better than the criminals. We saw him calling them, you're all criminal scum, and God knows what, every penny down here, the blood it's been through and the corruption, when he was literally making a deal with a shady criminal. Now, I don't know if we're going to ever see him again. I mean, given that he was the one who like dragged Vi away and was like, oh, you know, he'll kill you if he sees you, I feel like, and the fact that he watched his mentor, or at least his superior, a woman he respected, get murdered in cold blood and then was handed the blood money, literally. I do wonder if that's going to have opened his eyes to the reality of the world, or if he's served his purpose now and we'll literally never see him again. It could go anyway. But I like that he did go to, when he saw that something was going on, he did go to investigate, and that when he saw Vi, he knew enough about the situation, he picked up enough pieces to realise that if she walked out there, it would not be good. So I like that he's tried to help her, but I don't appreciate that he drugged her, and I also don't appreciate that he just left Powder alone. Though again, you could see it from like a point of view of, well, even if he goes out there, he is outnumbered by Silco and all of his gang, so that little girl is lost, and he could save this one. So that was just, I didn't expect any of it to go. And then the little boy whose name I don't remember, with the white hair, Benzo's foundling, just... he watched him, like, they call him, oh, I know what they call him, I don't call him Echo, but they call him something like that because he's everywhere and he sees everything, and I cannot remember, but he saw everything, including his father die, essentially. I wonder if he'll stick with Vi. And then Milo and other boy, are they alive? They looked very dead. I mean, there's a fire raging as well. Things don't look good for them, which I kind of thought they'd stick around more as characters. I mean, I think Milo looked like he was just crushed under rocks, just crushed, which was similar to what happened to Vi, although she had more the door, I think, than the rocks. Whereas the other boy, I think, like, a piece like hit him in the head, and I don't know if that just like stunned him unconscious or whether that was like a bullet to the brain. But regardless, the blood on those goggles made it seem like it was serious. And Milo, I assume, is dead because we didn't see him. And his hand was very still, and even if he wasn't dead, he probably burnt alive, so let's hope he was. Whole shit. So their plan to go and rescue Vanda was typical reckless children. It was the same sort of, I mean, it was motivated by a lot more love and fear than the initial heist, but it was the same kind of, we're ready for this, we can do it. Now, they were not prepared for this. They saw an open window and they didn't see a single guard, and it didn't occur to them, because I also do think it's because they were blinded by their love and their fear that they didn't stop and think, is this too easy? They were just like, I've got to go, gotta go, gotta go. And it's just, they were so close to making a getaway. You know, they'd got Vanda free from the chair, he'd broken through the wall, Vi had held them off for long enough. But then the supercharged guy the door was giving, would they have made it out? I do think if Powder had stayed home, it would have been better. I do think most of them would have made it out rather than just Vi, but who knows? You can't know for sure that anything would have happened all that differently. But it certainly wouldn't have been as big or as messy or as bloody, and the blood wouldn't have been on their hands in the same way as it kind of is on Powder's. Now, I don't personally believe it is really on Powder's hands because she was a child. I don't know how old she is, but she's very small. She didn't truly comprehend her actions. I mean, given the fact that she ran up to her sister and was like, I did it, did you see? Even though, like, it just caused a ginormous explosion. And like, she had no way of verifying that any of them were alive apart from her sister. And in her mind, it was just, wow, that was so cool. She, with the true being old enough to properly assess your actions, she would have done that thinking, worst case scenario, I get everyone killed. Best case scenario, I save everyone. But the worst case scenario is going to happen even if I don't do it. Like, she would have had to think of it more rationally. And I think you can very much see that both she and Vi are the products of their upbringing. I don't know so much about the other boys because we don't focus on them so much. In the sense that their parents obviously loved them. They seemed to miss them, which suggests it was good parenting. But their parents gave their lives fighting to try and make things better. And then you had Vi, who, yes, Vanda took them in, was a father to them, so she wasn't like solely left alone to raise her sister, but she knows what it's like to have your loved ones march off to war, and she kind of did it again anyway. But no, even though they had Vanda stepping in, it was very much, you know, maybe even her parents said, you know, same as Vanda said, look after your sister before she left, before they left. I think being an older sibling, you do very much feel that sense of responsibility, and I do believe she tried to cushion Powder from as much as she could of the world, although obviously both of them had a pretty rude awakening to it. She also wanted to make sure that she got to keep some semblance of a childhood and some semblance of that innocence, which in a lot of ways benefited her because it gave her a nicer life, but maybe it made her less, you know, I think all of this obviously happened at a very bad time, in the sense that Powder was at the age where she was beginning to be capable enough to do things, but not old enough to properly join in everything. And I think Vi giving her that bit of a leeway was maybe too much too soon, because it led to her thinking, I can do everything. But then I also do think, when Vi was her age, even if Vi was a better fighter and everything at that age, she also would have been useless. So with the other boys, you know, they were too little. Powder was too little to have gone along, and I mean, every single time she's had one of these things, they've not worked. She saw the powerful devastation of the last time, but obviously that time didn't kill anyone. I don't think it even crossed her mind that it could have killed anyone. And yet she is going to have to live with the fact that her explosion killed her father figure. It killed Milo and other boy, whose name I really should know, though maybe now it doesn't matter. And it killed other people, which, yeah, they were working against them, but they didn't necessarily deserve to die. Now, is she going to work through that? Or given that she's now going to be Silco's adopted daughter, is she just going to be like, ha, kill people? I'm worried about where Powder's going to go from here. But I think my heart breaks for her, because she at no point was considered that this could kill them. Now, yes, that is naive, that is ignorant, that is stupid, but that is a child. She acted like a child, and it kills me to think of how much is now on her shoulders. That she saw her sister look at her with disgust or with horror and like, you did this, like this, you did this, and then just walking away from her. Now, if Silco and his men had fucked off or died in the explosion like he fucking should have done, if they were gone, I truly do believe that after Vi had, and I'm going to get to Vi in a minute, I think Vi would have come back for her, would have been like, we'll work this out, I'm sorry, you know, like, you know, maybe she still would have been like, you've got to listen to me, I'm angry. I don't think she would have been like, it's totally okay, because a lot of people died. But I think they would have worked together on it. And even if she left for like 24 hours, she would have come back. We saw the second Powder was in danger, Vi ran to her. I feel like a part of it, I will come to Vi, actually, again, Vi I'll get to next. But for Powder in that moment, I think her brain is not able to comprehend everything that just has happened. I mean, for one thing, these children have lost far too much. For another, that realisation that I did this thing, now Vader's dead, now, like, my brother's goggles have blood on them, like, I have done this terrible thing, my sister is accusing me, she's just left me, you know, she promises she'll never leave me. And earlier in the day, the terror she would have felt sitting there, I mean, one of the worst things in the world is knowing your loved ones are in peril, in danger, in pain, and you can't do anything, and you're just stuck waiting to try, and you can't get to them. No wonder she desperately tried to think of something to help, and I think she truly believed it was going to be good. She didn't think, oh, I'm doing something a bit reckless here. She truly thought, I'm going to save everyone. And for a while there, she truly thought she had saved everyone. The realisation that she hadn't isn't good. Now, what worries me most of all is, because she is a child who was in pain and alone and scared, she saw someone and she just jumped into his arms. She needed comfort. She needed someone to tell her it was going to be okay. And she had that in Silco. Now, does she not recognise that he was the bad guy in the situation? Or was her brain, because it's a child's brain, in trying to wrap it all around, be like, Vi left me, Vi didn't like him, therefore I like him? I think she and Vi deserved the time to figure this all out. And what worries me going forward is that she's now going to, it would seem, have Silco as a mentor, and we have seen that he believes there's necessary violence to get your goals, and he believes all this stuff that is toxic. He believes a lot of things that can pollute a mind, a young mind. We also have seen that Powder is very resourceful, she's very technically good, and I feel like that could go into his line of like shadiness. So I'm very, very worried about Powder and where she goes from here. Then we have Vi, who, you know, she started this episode being willing to sacrifice everything for those she loves, most especially her sister. Then she watched as her father figure really sacrifice himself for her. Then she saw people die, him get taken away. She desperately tried to come up with a plan to stop him. And I think, in any other situation, she would have been able to sit down and have more of a conversation with Powder. But in that situation, she was going to potentially die trying to save Vander. And it was all the thought of Powder being there and being in danger was too much for her, combined with the fact that Powder is still learning the trade. You know, it's one thing to take her on a risky topside mission, because they always get out of everything. You know, this is a life and death stakes mission. No one goes on their second mission of all time to a life and death stakes mission. So I think because she just watched what had just happened, because she was stressed, because all the responsibility had fallen on her shoulders fully now, she didn't, obviously, because again, she's a child herself, she wasn't able to explain to Powder in a way that made sense. She was just like, you know, your thing of like, you're not ready, and then just, I can't lose you. And Powder was, there was no one else she could have taken her to. It breaks my heart to think of their last moments being that scene, and then the whole fight, and Vi fighting so valiantly against those people. Does she still have one of the fists and not the other one? Does she still have either of them now? But, you know, she used her father's weapons and she fought with everything she had, knowing that it could be futile, knowing, especially when she saw Purple Vein Boy, that it could all end, but she wanted to buy them enough time to escape, and then she managed to close the door to buy them those crucial last seconds. Just the amount of love and strength she does have in her heart after having the worst day ever. And then the explosion happens and she is crushed under a door and in pain, in shock, winded, just, you know, head addled, all of them. Like, an explosion is not a pleasant thing to be in. and then seeing her brother's dead, seeing her father turn himself into a monster to fight to save her, is too much for any brain to take. Her whole series of events of that day, she is only young herself. I mean, that's too much for an adult to take, let alone a child. She's older than Powder, yes, but she's still a child herself. And to realise that after all this time, all the time she's tried to protect Powder, I think when you saw the monkey head, it might have been like, that's Powder's. But then to see, after everything that happened, then her father saves her from the fire, dies, and his last words are take care of Powder, and then Powder comes around the corner like, hey, did you see? That was amazing, I did it. And it's just like, you've just destroyed our whole world. I think without Silco, anything else happening, I think Vi would have been able to come back to Powder, and things would have been awkward. They would have struggled with it, and it would have been how do we go from here? But I think the enduring love they have, and maybe the responsibility she feels for her sister, would have been too much. But I think in that exact moment, her sister smiling around the corner like, I just did such a great thing, and realising it definitely was her, that she has just imploded their world, that she has just killed people, including those they care about, that she didn't listen to Vi when Vi tried to give her an instruction. I think it was just too much for her. And then, you know, if you come face to face with someone that killed someone you care about, you just lash out. And then I truly believe, on top of feeling like, how can I look at my sister? She just did this thing. Then she had the realisation of, I just hit my sister and made her bleed. These hands have just hit my baby sister and made her bleed. I don't think she just walked away. Now maybe I'm reading too much into this. I think she did walk away partly out of just, everything is gone, she did this, I don't know what to do. But I also think in that moment she didn't trust herself around her sister, because she was dealing with the grief and the pain and the anger and the fear and all of those feelings, and she had just lashed out at her and hurt her, something she would never have dreamed of doing. If you'd said to her 5 hours ago, would you ever hit your sister, she would have been like, never, you know. But the way she deals with things is she punches bags, and that's what she's good at. She's good at the fighting. And I think it horrified her that some of the blood on her hands was her sister's, and the idea that if her sister can cause that pain, what pain can she cause? I truly think she needed a beat, a moment to just not have Powder's expectation on her shoulders, a moment to feel the pain of everything that happened, because for them to carry on from this point as just the two of them, in order to keep Powder alive, Vi would have needed to push all of that pain and emotion down, down, down deep inside to be the strong sister to protect the little sister. She would have needed to figure out, can I make this okay for Powder? Can I make it so that she doesn't feel the guilt of what she's done? Or can I make it so that she understands that can I understand that she didn't mean to do it? Can she understand that? You know, like, they're such complex emotions that I truly do not blame Powder. She undeniably did it, but she did it because she truly 100% believed she was going to save everyone and be a hero. And maybe part of it came from her childish desire to be taken seriously, to be seen as being one of the group, not just tag along Jinx. Powder calling her Jinx as well. I mean, she did kind of ruin everything again. But I do believe at some point she goes by Jinx, so maybe that's a nod to this. But just, that scene was so heartbreaking to watch when you've seen the bond these sisters have. But I also think for Vi, everyone has a breaking point, and she has been such a wonderful, supportive big sister for so long, and this was the worst possible time for her to hit the breaking point, but my god, did she deserve to hit it. Like I said, I don't know, maybe the next time we see her she'll be like, oh, good riddance, glad I lost her, little brat. But, you know, the second she realised her sister was in danger, she was going to run out there. She was winded, wounded, weaponless, but she was going to run into that alleyway and try and fight Silco to save her sister. She loves her so much, and it pains me to think that Powder didn't see that. That all Powder knows is my sister hit me, called me a Jinx, and stormed off. And then never came back and left me in this alleyway. When it's just, there is so much more to it, so much more nuance to both sides of this, and of course there is. And naturally going forwards they're going to be at such odds with each other. I do think there is a time jump at some point, but this feels like a point where there could be a time jump, and it just breaks my heart that this is gonna be such a seismic split in their relationship, and I don't know where they go from here, or how they go from here, especially if time passes with Powder being under the influence of Silco. shaping her young, grieving, vulnerable mind into what he wants, getting his ultimate revenge on his brother, and helping her to fuel this sense of, oh yeah, your sister never thought you were good enough, oh, your sister never saw the genius in you, oh, your sister left you. It breaks my heart so much, because that's the last thing Vi would ever want Powder to think. And I think on this night, I don't know how they would have gone forward otherwise. I think it would have been a struggle for both of them, but I don't think Vi would have just left her there forever. I don't think Vi would have just dumped her sister and gone. And again, how do you cope with knowing that your sibling has just killed everyone you care about? Unintentionally, sure, but you know, she did it, she knew how things don't always work and they're reckless, and then Vi will be thinking, if I hadn't turned myself in, maybe the situation wouldn't have happened. If I hadn't encouraged her to keep making her machines, maybe she never would have thought of making this one. There is a lot of self-guilt and self-blame, but I do think a factor in what made her just walk away was that she had struck her sister, that she realised that she was not a safe person for Powder to be around in this exact moment. And also I think it's that realisation that when their parents died, yes, they were younger, but when their parents died, Vanda was there. Vanda took them in and looked after them. When this has all happened, the weight is fully on Vi's shoulders. She doesn't even have the boys who are around the same age as her to help. She's solely the person in charge of her sister to deal with the fallout of all of this emotionally. For Powder, the one that's going to should have been able to help her deal with the emotional fallout of this while still going through it herself. I do not blame her for walking away, for thinking, I can't do this, I just cannot do this, I cannot be here right now. But like I said, from what we've seen, I can't imagine a world where Vi wouldn't have gone back for her, even if the fact that she collapsed just out of sight as well, you know, if she wanted to leave her, she would have just run and run and run and run until she could not run anymore, and then collapsed, and then when time had passed, been like, fuck, I need to find my sister. As things stand, Powder will never know that. As far as Powder knows, she did just run into the night, never to care again. And I don't even know how both of these sisters are going to cope from here. I mean, for all I know, the next episode will be, like, the next day. But I also know that I've seen Vi older, so I do... Vi older. I've seen Powder older. And being called Jinx. It's like the one thing I knew going into the sisters, one of them's called Jinx. And then I started it and no one knows sisters called Jinx. So I'm just stressed about what that could do, what that could mean for these little girls and their futures and their sisterhood. I hope over the course of these next episodes we're going to see them find their way back to each other. I'm fully prepared for angst and bumpy roads, but they deserve to be in each other's lives supportively. I'm just so stressed. I mean, genuinely, like, the next episode we could find that, like, Vi's been looking for her sister for 6 years, or we could have Vi being like, oh, you know, I lost my sister that night, she lost who she was and now she's willingly working with him, and just the pain of everything being too much to properly deal. I mean, characters in TV shows especially, but people do not deal with their emotions a lot of the time. The dark, hurtful, difficult emotions, it is so much easier to squash them than it is to face them, to face how they make you feel, and to face all the darkness that comes with it and the difficult work that has to be done to heal. So my god, this was a brilliant episode, but it was also a freaking stressful one. A reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon 2 weeks in advance, the edited version 1 week in advance, and thank you so much for watching.